Welcome to channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side so once we have all the updates and news and insight, you'll be the first one getting all the information. Alright, now I've been commonly receiving these questions. Can somebody who is an Australian citizen working overseas internationally become a GTI Nominator? So this has been basically being searched all around, and there's some information out on the website as well, but very limited, and obviously immigration itself does not provide any clear information on this. So in this video, if you do have a nominator for your GTI visa and who the nominator is actually overseas, not in Australia, would that be okay? And I will provide the answer to you in this video. So let's jump into the actual policy of the GTI nominations. It's actually very important, although you see that it does indicate 124, but anyway, that covers 858 anyway. So the subclass 858 and 124 are the same. They have merged the two subclasses, I think it was late last year, but anyway, the law is exactly the same. So what we are looking at here is that the actual clauses, the regulations that requires the GTI applicant to have a nominator to nominate them. So the first thing first is that the nominator has to be an Australian citizen or permanent resident or eligible New Zealand citizen who have been settled in Australia since, I think the date was in 2002. Before 2002, if any New Zealander had been settled after that date, it will not be counted towards as a definition of eligible New Zealand citizen, or perhaps an Australian organization, which is going to be so what is the status of the nominator is required. Let's continue to read on. The status requires that the nominator to complete Form 1000, which everybody will know about that, and that covers the professions, sports and art and academia researchers. So it's not just for GTI, but GTI are predominantly matches within the professions, but it does have an additional legislative instrument required for GTI, which I had covered previously on my other video talking about GTI. So what is the role of this nominator? The nominator, now first thing is that the nominator do not have any obligation for this visa holder. If visa do go through and approved, do not have any obligation of what this applicant will actually do in the future. For example, there are nominators who are weary in regards to perhaps there's a guarantee of employment for the applicant, or perhaps if applicant does or do something wrong in the future, does the nominator bear any obligation on that? So there is no responsibility and no obligation at all for the nominator. So what does the nominator do then? The nominator will require to attest. Okay, attest means due to the scale of seniority of such skills that is so high, a general skill assessment authority would not be able to attest or assess, the other word should I say, the actual applicant's status. So the nominator's role will then to assess, or that's an easier way, the applicant's profile, and in doing so, then the nominator is required to show that they do have that sort of national reputation relevant in the area of applicants' achievement. So that is the key here. Now, what we are talking about, what we're going to go through is actually the national reputation, what it actually meant, and how that would actually covers Australian citizen and permanent resident who are actually currently working overseas. Just give you an example. For example, an Australian scientist working with space tech in NASA. Obviously, he's not in Australia, but would he be able to have that sort of national reputation in order to nominate someone who is in space tech to become an Australian permanent resident under the GTI program? The answer is yes. Okay, so let's go in there and looking into the actual details. So, national reputation generally means image and options which is held by Australian public about the individual and organization. Number of factors to consider, and they are as below. So they do require to show, well, you don't have to provide all the evidence, but you need to actually be able to show that you have a track record of achievement. So you cannot just be someone out of the blue and telling everybody that you are a specialist in, for example, cybersecurity. Obviously, you need to show a track records that you have been as a cybersecurity profession or specialist for numbers of years, and that you are at the level of national reputation, evidence of high caliber, leadership. Okay, that includes some sort of professional membership in some sort of organization. It can be national organization, it can be also international organization as well. So this is what I just talked about: professional association and lead organization, industry body, current and previous employment history, so that can be shown through your CV or resume, and your participation in the conferences in both in Australia or perhaps internationally. So we've got to bear in mind, because we're talking about global talent visa, there are a lot of technology that is not really onshore in Australia yet. So the law does not prevent anyone who is internationally reputable person in the field of such technology that is not in Australia. So those people are still be counted as national under the national reputation definition, and their contribution numbers of international journal, patents, and field research. So all right, move on. National reputation qualified by association. Now, this is, again, I've just said that there are numbers of very high-end associations that a lot of these tech people or scientists may participate with. So assessing national reputation, nominated considered given their professional association. For example, individual employed as a lecturer at a university. So I'm not too sure why they do this, but somebody employed as a lecturer, is it an association? Well, maybe in institution or university, but again, that if we count that as an association or entity, should I say, generally somebody who is being hired as a lecturer, they must have a very high end of qualified and knowledge and skill in the specific field, so that will be counted as national reputation. An individual nominated employed by lead ICT company, so an international lead ICT company or IPO listed companies, that can be counted as well. But obviously you cannot just be a junior software programmers. Of course, if you've been hired by Google as a junior programmer, that would not count as a national reputation. But if you are a regional, for example, regional director, regional development manager, or some sort of that kind of role, or RD manager, or assistant manager, or system director in a specific regional offices of that international company, then yes, that will be counted into that national reputation level. Now, moving onwards, this is the final answers to all of you who are questioning in regards whether a nominator can be actually overseas. So national reputation qualified by international standing. If a nominator is leading international reputation, that will be organized, that will be national. See here, that's the key here, to be a national significance of Australia. Now, how would that count it? Generally, that will be some sort of technology or some sort of, should I say, processing line or somewhat, because Australia has been missing out major manufacturing or advanced manufacturing for the past 20-30 years. So obviously you cannot find anyone who's actually have the experience or currently being hired or employed as a senior role in advanced manufacturing role in Australia, because there is no such industry yet. Obviously Australia is looking forward to build one in the future. So if that person is considerable acceptable, broad interpretation, here we go, national reputation, ensure that the program, here we go, is not excluding quality Australian citizen, Australian permanent resident, or eligible New Zealand citizen nominated living abroad. So here we go, there is the key thing, key phrases here. It does not exclude any top Aussies who are working offshore internationally. Just giving you an example again, if some scientist, some space tech scientist or physician working in NASA, would he be counted? Obviously he is not in Australia, he may be in USA or in a Europe Space Center. Can he actually be counted? Or some quantum scientist, Australian quantum scientist working in Europe, well, obviously he will be counted as the national reputation, under the definition of national reputation, in order to actually nominate you to become a GTI visa applicant. So again, the actual policy, giving out some example, nominated living abroad will be considered satisfied requirement, have national reputation if they have a strong international record of achievement, thereby making reputable at a national level. Okay, so here we go. That is the answer to all of you. A lot of people has been querying and comment because obviously the Australian Home Affairs or Immigration does not provide clear answer on such field. Today I'm actually getting that out from the policy itself. Now what you just saw is what they call Legend Com. It's actually a regulation, immigration law library, which I had subscribed for many years, and that is the most updated information on the policy in regards to the definition of national reputation for GTI Nominator. Do you have more other questions? More than welcome to leave a comment right down below, and perhaps you may have some issue you might want me to declare, or perhaps provide a video to actually show through the answers. More than welcome to leave your comment right down below or contact us. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.